I will talk about the sponsor of this video, Cloudways, fast, simple and reliable cloud hosting platform. You can host phenomenal websites on a managed platform built by digital agencies, developers and e-commerce businesses that are backed by 24/7 into 365 support. So we will talk about different plans of this hosting platform. So here are the plans. So the services offered by Cloudways is from various different platforms like DigitalOcean, Vultr, Linode, AWS, Google Cloud. So you can choose any plans from here basis on your requirement. So here are the plans. You can go to this part of this page and you can select your services. And you can also try it for free. Register Cloudways today. We have placed a link in the descriptions. Happy hosting.
Hi everyone, today we'll see how can we practice for CKAD examination, that is Certified Kubernetes Application Developer. There are a good number of information that is available over the internet, but I found one particular repository which has comprehensive details about the CKAD exercises. So we'll see how can we solve those questions. This will be helpful for people who are just starting off about Kubernetes and who wants to prepare for the examination. Hope you may find these series of videos helpful. So without wasting time, let's open Safari browser, and so we have, you can just type CKAD exercises, you can Google it. The first link shows this particular Git repository, and so basically I'm not talking, I don't want to focus my time on the Kubernetes concepts or anything like that. This video will serve more in terms of how can you prepare for the examination, right? The examination focuses on these 7 concepts around Kubernetes. So basically core concepts, multi-container pods, how can you design the pod, the configuration, observability, networking, and persistent volumes and persistent volume claim. As a developer, how can you you need to be focused on these concepts. So core concepts, there are a set of questions here. We'll try to solve them. I have Cube already installed on my laptop. Check the status, it is up and running. And let's see what it says. The first question talks about creating the namespace and a pod with image nginx called nginx on this namespace. So let's do that. For this, right, we'll use aliases, which will be helpful during the examination. It will save your time. It will save your time during examinations. Better to have aliases and better to use imperative commands as well. And yeah, so this is for the creation of the pod. I'm just creating alias and just mentioning don't create immediately, but instead generate me the YAML file. So this particular command will help me to do that. And I can also have a alias for KNS, because these commands will be using now and then. It's better to have your alias, right? Now I'll create my namespace using this alias. Okay. So you have your namespace called my namespace created. Now let's try to create a pod called Nginx. So I'm using KCP, and it will take the pod name and image name is Nginx, and it needs to be created on my namespace, right? So basically, let's generate the YAML file for this, right? We can see here, let's say first question. It's better to have, instead of creating it directly, right? It's better to generate the YAML file using imperative commands, and it will help you to see the names and whether you have typed correctly or not. So this will be very useful. Here, namespace, we can add it here. I have not mentioned it earlier. You can say something like this. Space. Okay, the spelling is good. The pod name is Nginx. Container name is also Nginx. Excellent. This is good. And just you can have one more alias for creation of when you are creating, when you are reading it from YAML file. We'll use command called kubectl create -f. Shortly, let's call it as KCF. KCF1.yaml. You have, excellent, your pod got created. Now I'll just say get pods minus that is dash n my namespace. Let's see, 14 seconds back it got created, right? So that is one way. Or otherwise you can have you can create alias for your get pods as well. So this will be really useful, since you will be getting 23 questions and CKAD examination, and you have 2 hours, I believe. So you have, let's open calculator. You have 120 minutes and you have got 23 questions, I believe. So it's close to 5 minutes. You will get 29 questions. I don't remember. I think it was 29. 120 divided by 29. I don't remember. I've mentioned it somewhere in my blog as well. The exact time. 1 second, let me see. Medium, CKAD, prep notes. Okay, so I've also captured details about the CKAD preparation as well. Yeah, so basically you will get 19 questions in 2 hours. So it is 120 divided by 19. So you get approximately 6 minutes, 30 seconds for each of the question, right? So time plays very crucial role here, right? So aliases will help to have your faster. 1 second, let me close this. Okay, and where are we? Yeah, so the first question is done. Let's move to the second one. Second one talks about create the pod using YAML only. I think we have followed creation of the pod using YAML only. Let's go back to the third one. Create a busybox pod using kubectl command and run the command env, run it and see the output. So since it has not mentioned about any namespace, we are assuming that so we can create the pod in default namespace. So I'll just say I'll make use of my KCP alias. I'll give the pod name as busybox and image is busybox here. So let's see. Yeah, so it has created this one, but the question also talks about to run the command called env. So basically we can have a command as well. Just mention it as env. So now you can see here it has generated kind called pod file, pod YAML, and image is busybox, and name also busybox, and the arguments it has taken, basically it's trying to run the env command. So let's redirect this to a file, and let me make use of my command kcf3.yaml. So, and let me see what is happening here. So basically -w, it watches on your pod creation, -w switch. Yeah, so it's completed. Once the pod execution is completed, you can see the status by tapping. You can see what it has printed. So you can say klogs busybox. You can see the command execution. Since we have run env command, it has printed my environment values here, right? So these are all my environment variables and its values here. So far so good. Move on to the next question. This is done. Now the fourth one is create a busybox pod using YAML that runs the command env, run it, see how the output. I think this covers, both are same here. So I prefer using YAML instead of running it directly. The reason being is so it will give you time for the correction. If there is a spelling mistake in the pod name or image name, right, or let's say the commands, it gives you ample amount of time to correct it before actually creating it. So the preference is you use imperative commands, generate in the form of YAML file, double check it whether it is correct or not, then go ahead and with the creation part. So the next one is get the YAML for the namespace myns without creating it. So this is easy. Just say create namespace. Namespace. We have KCN alias. Why don't we use that? And INS, and question talks about not to create it. So we can just say like this. Oh, looks like I don't have the alias called create namespace. I thought it was created. Search to KNS, sorry. Create namespace. KNS was my alias name. Sorry about that. It was not KCN. So let's say KNS. Let me go and alias name was KNS. Okay. So okay. So one mistake I've done is basically I need to tell what is the format that I need to look for. So basically I need to specify the output as YAML, not client. Okay, so that was a mistake. So you can see here it has generated YAML file of kind namespace, and you can see the name as well. Yeah, so the question talks about just generate the YAML file, not to create it. Okay, so which we have done it here, right, without creating it. So get the YAML for resource quota called myrq with hard limits of 1 CPU, 1 gig memory, and 2 pods without creating it. So we can do that. So basically we have something called kubectl create quota, and yeah, so it is mentioned about some hard limits. CPU is 1, memory is 2 gig, memory is also 1 gig, and ports it says 2, replicas I believe 2, and So let me do a dry run. And I want this output in the form of YAML file. So create quota, hard CPU 1, memory 1 gig, ports, replicas. I think we are good here. Okay, so replicas. So what I have done here, oh, there was no replica, sorry, my bad here. It's just the ports. I don't know why I'm doing these mistakes. Simple ones, get create quota or queue. There you go. More. Oh, okay. So basically, whenever it says that the quantities match, it means that the units for CPU or memory ensure that you are following the proper. Here it was in lowercase. Ideally, it was in uppercase. So you can see here, a kind of resource quota has been generated, and you can see the kind is resource quota, and there are some hard limits on your CPU, memory, and ports. So the question again asks you not to create it without creating it, so which we have done it. And the other one is get ports on all namespaces. If you want to get ports on all namespaces, just say get ports, get ports and all namespaces. This is the switch you need to use. So this shows you your ports across all namespaces. Default, since there is only one port, it shows here, and the rest are related to your kube system namespace. So the one, since I have installed Minikube here, you can see the namespaces related to Minikube. Okay, so that is done. The other one is create a pod with image nginx called nginx and expose traffic on port 80. So what I have here, busybox only, right? I don't have nginx here. So I can create a pod with image nginx called nginx and expose the traffic, it says. Again, I can make use of my KCP command, alias. It takes the image is nginx, and image, pod name is nginx, image is also nginx, and it's telling me to expose the traffic on port 80. So basically, whenever you in questions it talks about expose, means you need to expose the service. You can make use of this particular switch called expose and the port number here. See what happens. Yeah, so you can see here along with the pod, here we can also find the service kind called nginx, and it has created basically in the YAML file. It is not yet created. We have just generated the YAML file. You can see the port number is 80, and the target port is also 80, and selector is on nginx. So your pod is nginx, right? And so basically it is telling to have this service on the pod called nginx, right? So which it has done successfully. Now we can redirect to a YAML file here. I think 5th or 6th question. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just mention it as 8.yaml. Okay, so I can say kcf 8.yaml. So both the service and pod have been created. So let's see. So if you want to see the status of pods and service, you can just make use of delimiter comma here. You see Both are running. Excellent. Nginx and Nginx service pod and service both are running. Okay, so next question is change pod image to Nginx 171. Observe that the container will be restarted soon as the image gets pulled. Yeah, so now the question asks us to set the image of your pod Nginx to a specific version. So that is 171. So has been created. So let's see that. Describe pod Nginx. Just say grep -i image. See what is happening. So it has successfully pulled the image here, which is 171 here. Excellent. The next question talks about get Nginx pod IP created in previous step. Use ZM busybox image to get its root. So we can use temporary busybox image and see whether we are able to do a duplicate or not on Nginx root. So I can run these commands, right, to get the IP address. Before that, if you want to run temporary busybox, so make use of imperative commands like krun busybox image is busybox, and since this is a pod, you don't just mention it as restart is equal to never, and once it is done, we are telling it to delete it, right? And let's run duplicate command on Nginx. So this is the IP address, and it is exposed on port 80. Let's run it. Since it is a root, I am not mentioning anything, just run like this. Okay, so we are seeing error. The reason being is looks like busybox was previously we have created busybox, right? Let's delete that. So I'm using grace period is equal to 0 because it will do immediate deletion. We need to wait. So this will be really helpful during examination. Yeah. So so basically what it has done is it has created a pod called busybox with container image as busybox only, and after once the creation is done, it tries to hit the Nginx root, and here it clearly says that you can see the HTML file welcome to Nginx, and once it is done, your pod deletion is happening. So this is done, and now it says us to get the pod YAML file, right? So this is my pod Nginx, and if you want to get the output in the form of YAML file, just say get pod Nginx -o YAML. So you can see here it has generated the YAML file, and in the next questions we'll see how can we make use of these files to edit something and delete the existing pod and create something new. So very useful command. So this is done. Let's go about get information about the pod, including details about the potential issues. Okay, get information about the pod, including details about potential issues. So if you want to see details, right, you can just say logs Nginx. It will give you information about your pod. klogs command is. Yeah, this is also the same thing. Get information, get pod logs. If the pod if the pod crashed and restarted, get logs about the previous instance. So for this, you can use logs nginx -p. So it gives you detail about your previous details, like I can see here, a previous instance. So it will give you information about your previous instance as well. So klogs nginx -p. So execute a simple shell on the nginx pod. So if you want to execute simple shell, just say kexec -it and your port name, just say nsh, type echo to Kubernetes. I'm using something like this. Okay, I know this problem. Okay, so since I'm not, since the command was expecting the codes, right? We need to mention that. So I'm just saying, I'm trying to execute a simple command on this pod container. In order to execute it, you just say kexec -it interactive mode and your pod name. Okay, so let's go back to the next question. Create a busybox pod that echoes hello's world and then exits. So I think we have done similar question like this. So if you want to execute, so we can just say run busybox image is equal to busybox, and we want it to get deleted after the execution of our to get it deleted after the execution of this command. Since we are creating a temporary busybox, I'm using -rm command here, right? And I can just type echo this is temporary. Okay, so it has it has created the pod, then executed the command, and it has deleted the pod here. Excellent. This is also done. It says do the same, but have the pod deleted automatically when it's completed. Okay, so basically I have executed this one instead of this one. Yeah, so since I have used rm command, don't use rm command. Basically it will stay, your busybox will stay, and it will just run this command. The next question talks about deleting the pod automatically, right? Then use this switch, rm switch. Apologies. Okay, so the other one is create an nginx pod set env var 1 is equal to val1. Check the value's existence within the pod. So let's go and see. We have already got nginx pod. We'll delete this and say we'll just run our nginx creation using imperative commands, and we'll make use of our environment variables. var1 is equal to val1. var1 is equal to val1, and it has created the pod, it has generated the YAML file, not created the pod. Basically, it has created the basically it is showing you the generation of YAML file, right? And you can also see the environment name and value, var1 and val1. And let's redirect to a file. I don't remember the question number. I'll just say lost.yaml. This is the last question on the topic. I'll say KCF, which stands for kubectl create dash f, and just say lost.yaml. So say KGP. It says that it is creating, it is running. Excellent. And the question talks about go to this pod container and see whether you have your environment variable set. So there you go. So you have your environment variable set. So with this, the first topic has been done. We'll cover about the next topics in different videos. Thanks everyone. Hello everyone, let's go to the next section, which is multi-container pods. We'll see how can we solve the questions that are captured here. There are two questions. The first one talks about creating the pod with two containers, both with image busybox, and run some command and try to connect from the second container and run ls command. So simple thing, we just need to make use of our kcp command, give image the pod name and give what is the image it has, and since it is asking us to run some command, just copy it from here, just do paste, so we can run command like this. And let's redirect this to a file. And update this file, since we need two containers, right? We can copy from lines and to 15 and paste it from line number 16. So yeah, so this looks good. This is not required. This is not required. We just remove the ones which is not required, and just call it out as busybox1 container and use busybox2 container. Image name remains same and same command we have to run. So we have a pod with two containers. So let's use our alias KCF. It stands for create dash f KCF dot YAML, and KGP is get pods, and we are using watch switch. Let's see what is happening. Excellent. So now we have created a pod with two containers, and the last part of the questions ask us to execute some command from second container. So we'll just run command like this and just say ls. So we are done with our question. So we have created a pod with two containers, and from the second container we executed some ls commands, right? So you can also check what is happening here. Just say busybox1 here. So it has executed the command which we have given, hello, and the sleep you don't see it because it is waited for some time, and it might have since the command has been run successfully, right? So hello and sleep. Let's go to the next question. The second one talks about creating a pod with Nginx container exposed at port 80, okay, and add a busybox init container which downloads a page, blah blah blah. Okay, so this is one part of the question. The second one talks about creating the volume type. So let's create a pod with container Nginx, right? So again, we can use KCP, your pod name as Nginx, keep your image as busy image as Nginx, and it is asking us that the port has been exposed at port 80, and try to run some command here. I'll tell you the reason. Let's mention it as temp command. Use single or double quote, doesn't matter. So now we have pod with one container. We need to do the same for second container. We have a pod with one container. We need to have init container as well. So for that, let's copy the lines. We may need it from line 9 to 15. Let's say line 15 YA. We'll yank 7 lines, and let's paste it from line 8, I guess. We'll just say 8 PUA. Okay, so excellent. So we have a pod with 2 containers, and these things, I don't need it, I can delete it. Let's call it as init container. So, and for init container, it is telling us to run this particular command. So let's copy this command. So the reason, yeah, so we just updating the command. The second init container is of type busybox, I believe. So you can see here busybox init container, and since it is not mentioned about the container name, we just call it as busybox here. And the second one, it doesn't require us to run any command as such. So we can remove this, delete these lines, and delete this one as well. Just say image and name and ports, right? So now let's go to the second part of the question. The second part of the question talks about creating empty volume and mount it in both containers, right? So we can make use of our Kubernetes documentation, which is allowed in the examination. So I have some time back, I have just opened it. You can just search by volume mount Kubernetes documentation. Make use of this one. Configuring a pod, we use a volume for storage, and just search for empty directory. Since it was mentioned here, we can just copy this and it here. Yeah, so you can give anything name. It has not mentioned any name. We could have written that also. For meaning full name, we'll just call it as volume as pod volume or something like that. And similar thing we can do it for our init container as well. So just call it as volume mounts. Let's not create it. Let's not type it. We'll just do a copy paste here. So you have lines 21 to 23. Yeah. Okay. And let's paste it under line 15. So we are good here. It has been pasted. The volume mount name, let it be pod volume. And so the mount path is, go to the question here. The mount path for init container is work dir. So since is work dir, I'll just type it here. For volume mount for Nginx is user share Nginx HTML. I'll just copy it. So save on time here. And volume is pod volume. Both are mounted to an empty directory. So I think we are good here. So volume mounts, both we are calling it as a name name of our volume is pod volume, and mount path for any directories root work directory, and for Nginx is Nginx HTML, and it is mounted to empty directory. I think we are good with this question now. Yeah, so let's go ahead and create the pod now. See what happens. Say acf2.yaml. So the pod initialization is happening now. It is running. So I think we are good here. We have initialize of busybox has been done. After that, I try to run the Nginx here. So you can just run klog Nginx as well, and you can see the logs of your Nginx. So it says that it is ready to start up. Excellent. So the last part of the question talks about create a busybox pod and run this command using the IP of your Nginx, right? So basically, we are trying to run a duplicate command on your Nginx pod IP. So busybox, we already had one busybox on our machine. So let me delete this busybox. So this was my alias. Alias KDF was delete pod at grace period, and forcefully it doesn't wait for anything. It will delete your pod immediately. Now you have your busybox deleted. Now run it again. A temporary busybox I'm creating. So I'm telling don't need it forever. Use of RM switch. Need it in interactive mode, and we won't run duplicate on the pod IP of our Nginx IP. So what I can do is I can make use of so since it's a different shell, let's get the IP address of our Nginx. So this is the one. Just copy this and just say et. See what happens. Yeah, so it has redirected. It has hit the HTML of our Nginx, and after that, the busy box has been deleted. That's it, guys, for this section. Simple thing. We are creating pods with multiple containers, and it was asked us to perform some actions which we have done it. Hope you like this video. Thank you very much.